This fear of not having the right reaction is very specific to the fearful avoidant attachment style. And I will explain why. I am Pauline, and I am so happy you are here because there are multiple insecure attachment styles. You have the dismissive avoidant, you have the anxious preoccupied, and the fearful avoidant attachment style. And there are similarities between the insecure attachment styles, but this is one that is pretty specific to the fearful avoidant. And other people might not understand this. A securely attached person, for instance, would never really be preoccupied with whether their reaction is the right reaction, because they think, well, it's my reaction. It's just what comes natural, so that's the right reaction, right? So they don't have this issue at all. And the fearful avoidant is the attachment style that focuses on feelings a lot, like not wanting to have certain negative feelings, wanting to have and hold on to positive feelings, thinking about what this feeling means. And so it makes sense that the fearful avoidant is struggling with that. And I will explain exactly why. So you might notice that when your partner leaves, you feel like you should miss them. And when they say, I love you, you need to feel love. And when they touch you, you need to feel either butterflies or a spark or attraction. And this feeling like you have to feel a certain thing, you have to have a reaction that is right for the situation, it might cause you to think that the relationship is wrong, that something is wrong with your partner or in your relationship. And it usually has nothing to do with your relationship. It has to do with the fact that you never really learned how to just naturally process your feelings and allow feelings to be there. And that means that you have probably been feelings managed when you were younger. And this is what a lot of fearful avoidant parents do. So fearful avoidant parents have certain beliefs and ways to go about raising children that can lead to the fearful avoidant attachment style. It makes sense, right? They are a fearful avoidant themselves, so they just do what they have been taught or they have experienced when they were a child, and then they kind of pass it on. That is usually how attachment styles are getting passed on from generation to generation. And what a fearful avoidant parent then also has is they are afraid of feelings, of big feelings in themselves, but therefore also in their children, because too much feelings equals losing control for them. And control is something that a fearful avoidant really, really wants, a fearful avoidant parent. So this usually starts to become a real big problem when children enter the toddler phase, which is the phase that the years of big tantrums, huge feelings. And what a lot of fearful avoidant parents try to do is try to manage those feelings, manage the reactions. So they might set a boundary. No, you cannot watch another episode of CoComelon. And then the toddler is super angry and just screams at the top of his lungs, and the fearful avoidant parent will say, don't do that, don't get so angry, what are you whining about? I don't know what they say in English, but they will react to the reaction. They will judge the reaction of the child. What a secure attached parent will do is they will hold up the boundary, and then they will allow the child to have any reaction they want as long as they're not hurting somebody. So it is completely fine that they are angry. No, you cannot watch another episode of CoComelon. Oh, but I need to watch another. I understand. CoComelon is just so fun, isn't it? You wish you could watch more episodes. I completely understand. And we're still going to turn it off. And so they allow that reaction to just be there. They don't judge it. They understand that, you get to have a reaction to something that happens. And of course, when you're a child, your self-regulation is pretty much non-existent. And so the feelings are huge. The tantrums are huge. That is not a predictor for how that child will be as a grown-up. And the fearful avoidant parent believes that you have to manage those feelings, manage that reaction, because otherwise this will happen also when they're grown-ups, and we can't have that. And so we now have to like control these reactions and emotions. Otherwise that will be a problem when they grow up. And that obviously is not true. So tantrums for a fearful avoidant parent are like so intense and so hard to navigate that they usually lose control themselves. This is the irony so often in fearful avoidant parents, that they are scared of losing control with their child, in the sense that they want their child to always be well behaved and not have too much feelings of whatever sort, because they can't handle that. And usually the reaction of a fearful avoidant parent, if that does happen, and it will happen, is that they get angry. And so in a way they lose control and just start yelling and get angry, because it triggers feelings in them that they can't handle. So it just makes total sense. Imagine growing up in that environment with a parent that is very scared, in a way, of your feelings, of your big feelings, and judges you for them, criticizes you for the reactions that you have. It makes sense that you're scared of your feelings and that you question whether your reaction is right or not, because you were judged when you were younger whether your reaction was right or not. And so you internalize that, and then that becomes your inner voice. And so you constantly believe and feel like whatever I'm feeling now is probably not right. I should be feeling this, or I shouldn't be feeling that. And then when we grow up with our feelings being judged and criticized so often, the logical consequence is that you start suppressing all your feelings. It makes so much sense, right? Because feelings are scary. When I have big feelings, my parent, who I love dearly and also is like 10 times bigger and stronger than me, they get really angry. I should not have feelings. I should not be feeling things. And so you suppress everything. And then it becomes really hard to feel anything, because you cannot suppress the negative feelings and only have the positive feelings. Feelings are a package deal. So as long as you're not okay with allowing all of your feelings to be there, you will suppress all of your feelings, also the good ones. And then you get in this situation where your partner says, I love you, or does something sweet, and you're like, I should be feeling love right now, but you've suppressed all of your feelings. And you've also learned to not trust yourself and your feelings. And so you just question everything all the time. And it makes sense that you are then very much focused on your feelings and find the meaning in them. Whereas what is going to help and heal is to allow all your feelings to be there or not to be there. So fearful avoidants usually have this idea that when you're in a relationship, it should feel a certain way. You should feel very intense. And that this might sound weird when you've just learned that your fearful avoidant parents feared big feelings, but on the other side, you may have heard that you should be happier, or cheer up, or why are you looking so down? So they wanted you to walk a very narrow path when it came to feelings. You had to be kind of happy, but not too happy, because then you would be elated, and that might have been criticized too. So you are constantly trying to find that narrow path and trying to have the just right reaction to not anger your parent, or to not draw criticism or judgment from them. So it makes total sense that you don't trust yourself, and that you don't trust your feelings, and that you try to find the meaning of them and should yourself a lot. Like, shouldn't I feel more? Shouldn't I be happier? Shouldn't I love them more? Because you feel like if you don't have the right reaction, that means something terrible. And when you were younger, that terrible thing was your parent getting angry. But now your fear brain projects that onto the present, saying if you don't feel the right thing, something terrible is going to happen. Like you will have to break up with your partner. You will have to be alone for the rest of your life. I mean, your fear brain can be very dramatic. So your fear brain is projecting old fears. When I don't have the right reaction, the right emotion, something terrible is going to happen. It projects it on something that you are afraid of now. You might not be as afraid of your partner getting angry or your parent getting angry anymore because now you're a grown up too. And so your fear brain kind of just projects something else that you're just as scared of onto this feeling of doom around your feelings. Okay, this is a topic for a different video on how the fear brain projects pain from the past into the present, onto the present. But when it comes to feelings, it makes so much sense that you have trouble feeling them, allowing them, trusting them, not judging them, because all of that is judgment, right? When they touch me, I have to feel attraction. So what I'm feeling right now isn't right. That's judgment. So this is just a small insight into why you're always focused on having the right reaction. I'm so curious what you think of this and whether you recognize it. And yeah, let me know in the comments below. I really am curious. And as always, I am so very happy you were here, and I will see you in the next one.
Healed and Happy is a tailor-made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of a fearful avoidant attachment style.